In this video, we're going to browse the Contemporary World Music section within the Music Online database, which you can access through the Lincoln City Library's website, courtesy of the Poly Music Library. If you need help getting into the library online resources, be sure to check out the first video in this series for some general information. But again, briefly, from the main LCL site, you can choose the Resources tab and then Online Resources, then Access from outside the library. You'll need to enter your library card number and then your PIN number. Go down to the Arts, Music, and Entertainment Resources section, and then you can head into Contemporary World Music. It bears mentioning here that there are two sections of Music Online that focus on world music, and world music itself is one of those terms whose definition is fairly nebulous. In this section, you will find some older and historical recordings, but the emphasis is on newer music recordings from around the world, as the title would likely have you guess. The Smithsonian Global Sound section, which we'll go over in another video, focuses much more on historical recordings and folk traditions from around the world. So let's look over the search options. They're similar to the other sections. We have this main search bar where you can enter any terms you'd like, or we can click on Advanced Search in the area just to the right of the search bar for more options. Like those other areas, if you see Select Terms as an option to the right of the Advanced Search categories, clicking on that will provide you a list of the successful search terms for that category. The categories are similar, but some of the selected terms are a little more useful in the Contemporary World Music section. For example, you might remember in the American Song database that the instrument options were pretty general, like aerophones, idiophones, etc. Here we have a much more robust section for finding music played with particular instruments. In fact, let's look for an unusual instrument and see what we find. Under aerophones, we're finding a few different things. Let's go down to the double reed section. And let's look for an instrument that has a few different names that's very similar. So if we look for gaita, let's look for mizmar and sham as well. Those are all essentially similar names for an instrument that's basically the precursor to the oboe, like a recorder with a double reed. Had different names in different regions of the world, but let's go ahead and search for all those different terms together. We'll add all of those terms, and then we'll do a search. So this should bring up results featuring that instrument in general, perhaps from a few different places from around the world. So first here we have the Hua family sham band. This will likely be a Chinese recording. Yeah, it looks like East Asia, China, Japan, and Korea is sort of the focus here. Like the other sections, you can play the music here, make samples of it, click on related documents to look at the liner notes for the recording. Go back out and check out the second result, which is a Music of Islam sampler. This will probably have some different instruments, including the sham or mizmar. And again, we can click on related documents and look at the liner notes. Let's go ahead and do that on this one. We'll click through, and I remember when this series first came out, these were a pretty robust series that had some pretty detailed liner notes, so this would be a place to look to find quite a bit more information on the music as you're listening. And again, we have some more examples here. Looks like lots of things from the Middle East, and then we'll probably find some East Asian examples as well. It's worth mentioning that not all instruments have made it into the terms under that Select Terms category. If you go to browse, for example, for oud, O-U-D, you'll find that it's not there. That instrument was a precursor to the lute, but it's still played in a lot of Middle Eastern regions too. So let's just do a general search for oud. And indeed, we did find some examples. So if there is a particular instrument you're looking for, you don't always have to go through the advanced search to do it. You can just type in the instrument and get some results like this. Looks like we have quite a few things to look at here. So let's look under General Styles and Countries of Origin on the main page to get a sense for what we're going to find here. If you go into Browse More by Places on the front page, you'll find things divided up by continent that you can further parse. You just click on each one. Some of them will have even additional clicks to go through. And you can go through these and try to find very specific geographical regions whose music you're looking for. And then if we go back to the main page here, and we can look by genre. The genres are kind of linked in two columns here down at the bottom because there are quite a few. These are similarly broken down once we click on More. You can click on each of those and break it down even further. If we click in front of the pretty generic world music tag, for example, we get all these additional genres. This is a really fun area to browse and find genres you might be unfamiliar with, I think, and you can introduce yourself to some new music. There are lots of wonderful forms of music just waiting to be heard in here. For example, if you're interested in Bollywood film scores, here you can find some under Indian/Hindi film. Those are inside the world music in general, and here we get some interesting results for those. So there's a lot you can find in here. This is a pretty flexible database. So that's a quick overview of the contemporary world music section within the Music Online database. If you have any questions, you can contact the Poly Music Library by emailing me at polley, P-O-L-L-E-Y, @lincolnlibraries.org, or call 402-441-8520.